Hey, Tom here, Flip Anything USA. So on my channel, I share how I made my fortune in real estate. And today, I'm going to go back to an old video where I show you where I was when I was 19 years old. I bought my first building with no money. And then I'm going to show you how you can do it too. Before we get into the video, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know, I put out a lot of valuable content, put out a lot of time. You could return the favor by pounding that subscribe button and hitting that like button. Today I'm going to pull out some old videos I did a couple years ago, but I'm going to provide a little more added insight. This is great information that I'm giving you. This first clip is about the first investment that I ever made, and then after that I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So a little bit about myself. I got out of high school when I was 17. Went to work for a cabinet maker. About a year and a half later, he went out of business. During that 18 months, I'd actually started buying hand tools with every bit of money that I made because I thought I'd end up starting my own shop. Well, it happened earlier than I thought. He went out of business. So I rented a place. It was tough. I actually was living inside my building for a short while, and the landlord found out, and he's actually a great guy. But anyways, he said, "Look, Tom, because you can't live in this building." He goes, "This place goes up in flames and you're going to die and I'm going to get sued." And so he said, "You really need to do something else." So I started looking for another place. Well, the previous person that I'd worked for, like I said, he went belly up. Well, his property went back to the bank, and I'd called on an ad for a place that was for rent, and an agent picked me up and took me around. Well, sure enough, they took me to my old employer's building where I had worked just 6 months before. And I said, "I can buy this?" And he said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "They'll owner finance it." And so this was my introduction to owner financing too. And I said, "Well, tell me about it." I go, "Because I'm having trouble just making payments right now on my truck or on my car at the time." And so imagine this. I got long hair. I have terrible allergies, so my eyes are bloodshot. So I always look like I'm stoned, and I wasn't, but I just looked like it because of bad allergies and the long hair, and I'm driving a Camaro. So I wasn't like a prime prospect for anybody to trust to owner finance. But he said, "No," he goes, "Look, Tom," he goes, "they're never even going to see it." He goes, "We're going to send in an offer." And so that's what happened. I made an offer on this building for, I think, $110,000 with $10,000 down. Now, I didn't have the $10,000 down, but we did it with a 6-month look. In other words, I had 6 months to close, but I had full access to the building during this time. Well, they accepted that offer. I think I put maybe 500 down. And so I put 500 down. I immediately moved into this building, and now I no longer had rent. So this building was quite a bit bigger than what I'd previously been renting, but nevertheless, I was saving $1,000, $1,500 a month just on the size of this building alone. So that over the next 6 months, the money that I wasn't paying out in rent, I just simply saved. And then at the end of the 6 months, I had $10,000. I put that down, and now I own the property. Okay, shortly after I bought the property, somebody came up to the door because they'd seen the for sale sign that had been on the property, and the property sign for sale sign stayed up during that whole 6 months. They wanted to keep it on the market, even though it was in escrow with me. But a guy comes to the door and says, "Hey, I saw this place was for sale." And I said, "Yeah, I bought it." And he says, "Well, what'd you pay for it?" And I told him, and I think I paid 110 at the time. Maybe I'm off 10 grand. I don't remember. But he said, 110. He goes, "I'll give you 130 right now." And so I was 19. My eyes got as big as saucers. And I thought, wow, you're going to give me $20,000 more than I paid for this thing? Well, I'd already moved in, and I had a cabinet shop. I was building a business, so I wasn't interested in selling. But that opened my eyes up to the possibilities of how much money there is in real estate, because here I just closed. Somebody offered me $20,000 more than I paid for it. It was essentially a nothing down deal for me, because basically I got 6 months free rent, which allowed me to save up for the down payment. So it wasn't a nothing down, but it was a nothing to me down, because it basically was what I would have paid out in rent anyways. So you can see here that the deal that got me interested in real estate from the very beginning is one that I could have done without any money. And this took on for 40 years now. I've been doing this. And you can do it too. You can start with no money, just like I did. Next up, a quick look into my mentorship. And then I'm going to show you a real deal that I did and that you can replicate and do in your area no matter where you live. So it's really a perfect storm for making money in that respect. But in 1 year, his portfolio has gone from zero to $1.6 million. You would have got 30, 22?
Yeah, I think I got 27, yeah.
27 properties. Yeah, 27 properties. John, you have to buy that. That is a great property.
I just closed on 2 houses yesterday. It's worth $250. I bought that one for $170.
My first millionaire, my first millionaire student. I don't want to screw around. I don't want to play games going back and forth. What is the absolute bottom dollar? And I'll tell you if I'm going to buy it or not. So when I was 19, this amazing deal just sort of found me. I had something someone else wanted, and he was offering to pay me more than I had just paid. You might say that it was luck, but now I'll show you exactly how I recreated the same situation again and how you can do it too.
The way I came upon this discovery, realizing that whether you're rich or poor, you're the same, is this. I found a building for sale near the building I'd already bought, and it was worth, I can't remember exactly, but it was worth probably over $200,000. And the people were going bankrupt and they were gone. They'd already left their business. They abandoned it. They were going to let it go back to the bank. I got wind of this. I don't even remember exactly how, but I tracked the people down and found out, yeah, we're just going to let it go. And I said, well, look, let me buy it. So I found out what they owed on it. It was significantly less than what I thought it would sell for. So I made a deal that I would buy it from them. And I think I just gave them a couple $100. We wrote up an agreement. This is like a pre-foreclosure. They weren't even in foreclosure yet. But I had the deal. I had the rights to buy it from them. But I had to get it done very quickly because they were going to get foreclosed on pretty soon. So I sought out somebody in town, somebody that I used to work for that I knew had money. And I went to him and I said, John, I got this deal. Can we buy this together? He said, Tom, it's a great deal. I think there's plenty of money to be made here. He goes, but I don't want a partner. I don't need a partner. He goes, how about if I just give you $20,000 and you go away and I'll buy it by myself? And so look, he probably went on to make 50 or 100 grand. I don't even know. But I said, sure. It was a great idea to me. So he gave me $20,000 and he took my position in the contract. See, I didn't have money. I didn't need money. Okay. I needed the deal. He had money, but he didn't have the deal. I want to talk about now about how does the poor guy buy? Okay. First of all, assuming the poor guy gets the deal. Okay. Now, that's the biggest advantage. You put down $500 or whatever, you got it tied up, you're going to close in 60 days or 90 days or whatever you negotiated. Even if you say you're going to pay all cash, that's fine, okay? But there's a number of ways you can do it. There's owner financing, okay? This is a great way. I've owner financed properties that I purchased that I could have never qualified for myself. So you got owner financing. Now, that's an opportunity sometimes where the poor guy can actually buy something without anybody's help because he's got the deal. Now, maybe you've got 10 grand, 5 grand, or whatever, but maybe not. Either way, there's owner financing, okay? Then the other thing is just assign your position. And so typically when I go into an agreement, I will write and or assigns. So it'll be Tom and or assigns. Now, when I was younger, I was doing this primarily because I might flip it to somebody else, or I put it in my name and somebody else's name. Somebody says, why do you have and or assigns? You say, well, I might take my dad as my partner, or I might put it in an LLC or LP is what I usually do. So we got owner financing, we've got assigning your position. That's where you're just going to flip it to somebody. And then there's just the obvious one, and that's just partnering. You know, if you've got somebody that is willing to be your partner, then that's great. But I don't even love partnering, but it's okay. It works as long as you both understand, hey, I got the deal, you got the money, we go in, we got to flip it. And usually that works for any partner because they just want to get their money out. Now you're going to run into it because this is kind of how I self-discovered this stuff. Is I found people that were like, hey, that is a great deal. I do want to be your partner. But then they decide, hey, you know what? I'd like to keep that property. And now you're negotiating with them what they can buy your interest out with, which is a great position to be in because you can do that before you ever own it, and you can just let them assign the contract, and so you'll assign that to them, and they'll just take your position. So remember, rich or poor doesn't matter. The deal is the key thing. I can barely read that. The deal, that is the key thing. You gotta have the deal.
All right, so those of you that don't know it, I have a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a big seller on Amazon, Kindle, Audible. Got great reviews. You can check those out. You can even read and listen to the first few chapters for free. Urge you to get the book. It's only $9 on Kindle, $20 in paperback. Read that. That's where you start. You want to follow my footsteps, make money like I did, starting at 19. Listen, there's not a better, quicker way to get rich. I write checks for cars. I write checks for college. I write checks for brand new homes. You can do it too. You just got to get rolling. Trust yourself. Get started. So again, if you haven't already subscribed, please pound that subscribe button. It's the only way that I know that this content is appreciated and that you want more. Hit the subscribe button and then I'll know. Hit that like button and then I'll know.